8 years ago, my life couldn't have been any more different to what I do today. This was me, a Royal Marines commando jumping from a helicopter onto the back of a moving ship. A few weeks later, I was here, in the mountains of Albania, learning how to survive and operate at altitude. And a few months later, I was here, deployed to the Middle East. I actually celebrated my 18th birthday from this desert. Now, it's not just me that's made this mad career change to what we do today. These are all members of my team. We've got ex-Marines, we've got explorers, we've even got world record holders. If you take Nevs, for example, at the far left, he's a 5-time world record holder for crossing the largest islands on Earth using nothing but human power. He went snowblind crossing Greenland, fell down an ice crevasse in Baffin Island, and got captured by pirates in Papua New Guinea and held in a little cage for days on end. So how did we get from that world into the world we're in today? In 2016, I completed a close protection, surveillance, and evasive driving course. 2 days of that course was all around camera systems. How do they work? How do you put them together? How do you use them? I enjoyed it so much that a week later, I went down to town and picked up a second-hand Nikon camera. The next 6 months, I became obsessed. I shot anything and everything. I learned how to frame my subjects, how to properly edit using Photoshop and Lightroom, and started building a local network of brands I would shoot content for. The deal was I would shoot content in return for free product. And it was great. But a couple of months later, it got to a point where my lounge was full of this free product. I had this crazy Warren Buffett moment that I was going to charge real money for my time on those shoots. And when I didn't lose one client. It was at that point, age 23, I made the decision to leave the Royal Marines and go and set up my own company. I wanted to go and change a hobby into a career. So after a bit of kind of looking at what the next steps would be, I knew I needed a name. And back then, this is how I got around. I was obsessed with motorbikes, and it was at the same time Sons of Anarchy was out on TV. For those of you who don't know Sons of Anarchy, it's an American TV show about a bike club that ride around the desert on these big Harley Davidsons. And me and our group of friends used to go out every night, and to wind up our girlfriends, we called ourselves the Rolling Rogues. And when I needed a name, I thought this is the perfect opportunity to take that wind up to the next level, so I launched a brand called the Rolling Rogues. Now, over the next 2 years, we found our niche. We worked out with our background and our skill sets, we could get film teams anywhere in the world, however remote or dangerous that would be. And we did exactly that. We worked in jungles, mountains, deserts, and we worked with some of the biggest brands getting to all corners of the world. Now, 2 years into that journey, a game-changing moment happened for us. We won a contract with a discrete military unit that was very strategic to some big players in that space. And a couple of months later, I sold the agency to Berkshire Hathaway. I spent the next 2 years in-house at Berkshire Hathaway developing technology for that same military network. We focused on 2 products. One, a virtual reality mission planner. We took open source map data, we punched it into a gaming engine, and allowed soldiers the capability to walk around a landscape before they deploy. The second was a stress inoculation chamber, where we had put soldiers in virtual reality and introduced layers of stress to see how their bodies coped and teach them ways to manage that when they deploy. Now, this technology could literally save lives, and it was the first time I was introduced to a proper, real, genuine purpose. And it was that time when I was developing this, I knew whatever I did in life had to be grounded in purpose. But I also missed that creative world that I left the military for a couple of years before, and knew I had to get back into that space. Now, alongside the military, we were still running the film shoots. And I jumped on a shoot, and there was about 50 or 60 people on this set. And we're filming this incredible scene of the talent walking up through a woodblock and it disappearing behind them. I noticed the creative director running around, moving things around the set. I said, 1, can we help? 2, what are we doing? She said, I'm trying to move anything that doesn't look sustainable off the set so it aligns with our new eco-friendly image. I said, okay. We looked behind us, and we saw these huge floodlights, generators, 4x4, burger vans, enough energy consumption to power a small town. And we said, well, why don't we clean up that for the next one and actually document and tell the story? She said, it's not feasible. It's too time-consuming. And more importantly, there's no one in that space doing it. Now, this was 3 years ago, and us Marines like a bit of a challenge. And a couple of months later, Nuevo was born. We started with what we knew. We got obsessed with the details within production. We started breaking it down into categories. We looked at energy supplies, infrastructure of where we are going to. We looked at accommodation, transport, who we could use, local fixers and local networks. And then we used our profits at the back end to offset the carbon footprint of that project. But that wasn't enough. So we started using technology. We started using virtual reality and planned all our recce's in virtual reality to minimize our time on the ground. And we started looking at carbon capture initiatives, seagrass planting, but it still wasn't enough. So we sat down as a team of 10 and said, if we want to do this properly, if we want to change an industry, what do we need to do next? And we quite quickly agreed that we needed investment, we needed backers, we needed to invest in technology, and we needed to learn so much more about the challenges in our industry. What we learned next shocked us. We learned that the carbon footprint of advertising is now double aviation. We learned that film was on the rise, 51% rise since 2016. And outside of film, we learned that 6 million square meters of paper from billboards are thrown away every 2 weeks. And there were hundreds of stats just like this. So we knew we had to create solutions. We knew we had to be the team that would get on the ground and actually find a way forward for this industry. But we also knew if we were going to come up with solutions in this space, and if it wasn't seen or it wasn't heard or used, it would be no good. So we had to create conversation, provoke conversation, and we had to put some punchy things out there to be noticed and start this discussion. The advertising industry is killing the planet.
Around the world, the ravages of climate change are evident.
Human activities are responsible.
The evidence is clear. Global climate change is a problem of today, not the future.
Extreme climate events around the globe.
All the effects of our climate's diminishing state.
6 months of record-breaking temperatures.
If we don't act now, it will be too late.
There are those actively trying to save our planet.
Change is not only possible, but urgently necessary.
Others who arrogantly choose to look the other way.
A lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax.
But the majority of us, due to confusion or lack of knowledge, still aren't doing enough.
But what can the average person do?
What happens next is up to every one of us.
Many brands talk the talk, but far too few actually walk the walk.
Using slick advertising as a smokescreen, the marketing and advertising industries are especially guilty of this hypocrisy.
For every single film production, a couple of soccer fields of Arctic ice are melting.
These days, every brand tries to sell the story of sustainability, but more often than not, the promotion of these sustainable behaviours are only in place to distract from those which are detrimental to our planet.
This is known as greenwashing.
That's like a burger chain claiming that they're vegan because they've got salad on the menu.
And with the marketing industry's rapid embrace of both blockchain and metaverse innovations,
this problem is about to get a whole lot worse.
But this isn't a witch hunt. We need to accept the mistakes of the past and move forward together.
We can all do more.
2 years ago, Nuevo set out to solve this problem.
Using our award-winning creative, we generated revenue to fund sustainable carbon offsetting initiatives.
But this was still not enough.
After working with some of the world's biggest brands to reduce carbon emissions, we now know we need to do more.
Net zero is the only solution.
Creativity should not kill the planet.
At Nuevo, we have a new mission, to do more than just offset.
But to actually reverse the industry's impact on our climate.
We aim to take 10 times more carbon out of the atmosphere than we put in.
By combining world-class creative, specialist consultants and innovative tracking technology,
Nuevo can provide brands the necessary tools they need to measure and reduce their carbon footprint,
assisting them in achieving true net zero marketing.
We're backing Nuevo today for a better world tomorrow.
But there is no silver bullet. To make a real difference, we must all work together.
It's time to give creativity a conscience.
So this film did exactly what it was meant to do. It brought forward collaborators from all around the world that have been beating this drum for a while. And it introduced us to people that really do care about this in the industry. And it's kind of doubled the business over the last couple of months, with consultants coming in wanting to help us on our journey. So what do we do? So we're a team of strategists, award-winning creatives, and some of the best producers in the industry, underpinned by an incredible team of sustainability experts with a seat at the table across everything we do internally and what we do for clients. We partner with brands over a 3 to 5 year journey, and we start looking at their marketing sphere. Where are they spending money? What actually moves the needle for them as a brand? What connects to their consumer? And what can we cut away straight away to start reducing the carbon footprint? We have to make sure it keeps brands on their trajectory. It has to work for their business. But we just have to make smarter decisions at every point of the journey. Now, alongside our teams doing the work, we follow this framework. We measure, we reduce, we maintain. So the measure is hard, especially hard in the creative world, in the advertisement industry. It's very disconnected. There's agencies, there's freelancers, there's internal teams. So 12 months ago, we partnered with a global risk management company for the last 5 years have developed this incredible tracking technology that's accurate down to a meter. We started working with them to bring in emissions calculators and impact reporting capabilities to give us the insight and data we needed. We then move into the second phase, reduce. This is long, it is hard, but it's the right thing to do. And part of the challenge here is walking brands through it saying, this is the right way to do it. There's no knee-jerk reaction we can do here. It is long, it is hard. We aim to reduce carbon footprint by a minimum of 80% across all the different areas within their marketing departments. We make sure we're doing it within government guidelines so we can legitimately prove their journey towards that net zero. And we look at carbon capture if we're going to do it, or the different options out there which best suits the brand. After the reduce, we move into maintain, which us and none of our clients are anywhere near yet. It's a lot further down the road. And we look at 3 different areas here. We look at tracking using our technology and keeping that state of wherever we've got them to. We look at educating and inspiring new staff, saying, do we stop here or can we go further? And can we pioneer a new way to create in this industry? And we start to marry ESG objectives with long-term marketing strategies. Now, we know this solution and these frameworks we're building will help marketing departments all around the world clean up the way they do business and move it into a more positive place. But we also know if we want to change an industry, we have to change mindset. We have to develop the perception of what can be done in this space. So we launched Nuevo 360. It's a progressive personal development course where people can come and learn. People can hear from specialists in the arena that can actually talk them through ways they can take back to their marketing departments and back to the way they create on their own and make it better. So we can speed up the progression in this industry. Now, this is what gets us really exciting. All this working together should move this industry that's been so stagnant for so long into a better place. Agencies, marketing, brands are just stuck in this cycle of deadlines, campaign, budgets, and we need to find a way to weave into that and be part of that ecosystem. Now is the time to collaborate and not compete in this space. Now's the time to congratulate and not call each other out, and to have a little bit of faith in the industry. So the question I ask to you is, if we get this right, where could we be in 8 years' time? Because what happens next is up to all of us. Thank you.